Let's discuss the question. What is Jalen Hurts play? What is the smell around Jalen Hurts? Like, let's break it down like that, right? What's Jalen Hurts play smell like for the Eagles? So my thoughts on this, I've got John Madden, Gator, and Spicy Margarita. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to put the biscuit in the basket. So, A, the smell surrounding Jalen Hurts is a pungent smell. It's pungent enough. It's so strong, it's actually peeling the paint at the Link in Philadelphia. It's that bad. The paint's peeling down. It smells so bad. And this was a masterpiece of malfunction. And I'm happy I got to see something I've never seen before that we're not sure has ever happened before. And it happened on a Monday night game here. But before we get to that, when I say that Jalen Hurts went out there and had a masterpiece of malfunction, it was a performance so historically awful, it deserves its own wing at the Louvre across the Atlantic there. It just deserves its own spot in the museum. And forget Van Gogh and Da Vinci and all the greats. Jalen Hurts in this Monday night game was Jackson Pollock. He was splattering turnovers in the air everywhere, right across the gridiron, like a man who was playing possessed by the spirit of abstract incompetence. That was Jalen Hurts in this game. And you saw the play in particular was interception, fumble recovery, and then fumble on the same play. John Madden, if he were still alive, the ghost of John Madden would call that the turnover turducken is what that was. That was a turnover turducken. You got the interception, you get the recovery, and then you get the fumble. That's the turducken of turnovers for Jalen Hurts. Congratulations. The rare double giveaway. The rare double giveaway on one play, and the nerds claim that their data goes back to 1978. Apparently nothing happened before 1978. Everything after 1978. They have no recorded history of anyone sucking that much on one play like Jalen Hurts. And that's not quarterback play, mind you. That's finger painting while on a Dumbo ride at Disney World is what that was. Now, Hurts, who has gone recently from the afterglow of the Super Bowl MVP to the LVP, as in lost value player. That's Jalen Hurts right now, the LVP, the lost value player. And he's strapped right in that cockpit of the Vomit Comet, and he's on a full kamikaze mission with that Philadelphia Eagles offense right now. And this is not just a one-night stink bomb. As we know, we've been documenting. Here we have a talk show to do every day, and we come in here, and the Eagles are good for business because they won the Super Bowl. They're supposed to be good, and they're underachieving, and so it's always fun to talk about teams like this, and they are really living up to the suck mantra in Philadelphia. So the last 5 games, I think that's a good sample size. Is that fair? That's fair. You're shaking your head. Yeah, that's fair. So last 5 games, Jalen Hurts has a 72.3 passer rating. He's averaging 6.4 yards per pass, completing less than 60% of his passes despite running a rudimentary Eagles offense. And he's got 5 interceptions now and 3 fumbles, and that's the way it's going for Jalen Hurts. And so that's not really a slump, mind you. That's a 5-alarm football funk is what that is for Jalen Hurts. And remember, in the NFL, there is no rest for the wicked. So right back at it again for Jalen Hurts, although the competition does soften going forward. Now, page 2. Let's talk about the leadership vacuum in Philadelphia here. And there's a theme to the Eagles as they continue to have their issues here. And the question is, do you have any confidence, as an outsider, do you have any confidence that Nick Sirianni can stop the bleeding of the birds? Do you have any confidence of that he can get it done there? So I'm going to go N-O-P-E on that. That's nope, for those of you who don't know how to spell. Nope. Zero confidence. And I don't know how anyone could have confidence. The Eagles had a similar free fall. I think it was 2023. They never got out of it. They never were able to stop it. And Sirianni was the head coach of that team. The Eagles right now are like the USS Gerald R. Ford. They are an aircraft carrier, and they're very difficult to turn around, those aircraft carriers. It's like they're drifting sideways in the Delaware River right now, and Nick Sirianni is standing on deck on the aircraft carrier, and he's waving pom-poms. And instead of grabbing the wheel and trying to turn it, he's like, no, we're fine. Oh, we're good. I love these guys. Oh, they're so good. Let's play rock, paper, scissors. What do you say? Okay, why not? We'll play rock, paper, scissors. Fine. So you don't turn around the aircraft carrier by saying, let's go, right into the headset. That doesn't work. Here is Nick Sirianni on the 4-interception game for Jalen Hurts. Let's hear what Sirianni had to say on this.
This game is the ultimate team game, so it's never it's never just on one person. Ultimately, he always has the ball in his hands, and I know he'll wear a lot of that and own that, and I got to do a better job of helping him in those scenarios. Again, it's never just on execution, right? It's always, we look at ourselves as coaches first. Do we help them be in position to succeed and then execute, right? So obviously, never want to turn the ball over. We've been pretty good at that, and tonight was a little uncharacteristic of ourselves.
So there's a couple of things here that are classic deflection moves. Jalen Hurts in the soundbite we played, so I got to watch the tape. That's a classic. I'm not answering the question. I'm going to say I'm going to watch the tape. You'll never ask me about it again. Or when you ask me about it again, I'm going to say, well, we've moved on to the next game. And then it's never on one guy line from Sirianni when, it kind of is. That's why the quarterback gets paid 10 times what the other players get. It's on him. So you can say whatever you want. It's a team game and all that. Well, the team games are lost by individuals. And Sirianni's a show pony. He is a show pony. He's a sideline cheerleader who thrives when the wind is at his back. And when the wind changes and the storm hits, all of a sudden the high tides and the birds, they start leaking oil, and all of a sudden Sirianni does a costume change, and he becomes a gator. The inflator gator is Nick Sirianni as he pumps air into every minor issue, does not solve anything, and then it becomes a full-blown circus balloon. And that's the Eagles, and it's literally blocking the highway there. It's blocking Broad Street there in Philadelphia. It's a mess. And so Jalen Hurts, who looked like a man whose football soul had been mugged. He was numb as a bug, and just the whole thing is like, what is going on here? Passes were being tipped. They were just a little bit off, and that's the difference between good and bad, success and failure. And so you've got the A.J. Brown situation where he had a bunch of yards, but yet the underlying condition is still alive. They're not singing from the same song sheet, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. As you look at it, the coughing is still there as 13 targets, and A.J. Brown had 6 catches. There was a key drop in the fourth quarter down in the end zone, and a 46% catch rate, which doesn't appear to be very good. It screams miscommunication for the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's obviously a lot of frustration with a little dash, just a little dash of diva sprinkles on top at this point. So the schedule, if there is a positive, if you want me to be Benny Brightside, the positive here is the schedule is cotton candy. Like the Eagles, even though the Eagles are trash right now, they still should win 3 of their final 4 games to close the regular season. Does anyone want to push back on that? Have you seen who they play? The Raiders. The Raiders are up next in Philadelphia. The Raiders have already given up. They're a bunch of quitters. They've got Geno Smith. That tells you they're not trying to win. When you have Geno Smith, you are trying not to win football games. You're just trying to cover, and Pete did cover the spread. Good job by him. They do have to play the Bills. That's in Buffalo. That'll be a loss. But then you also have 2 games home and home with the Washington Commandos. So they appear to quit or have quit way they played against the Minnesota Vikings. So that's what's up ahead. However, right now, the Eagles, they don't need cupcakes is what they need. Competence is what they need here. And so even if you beat up on the Raiders and the Commanders a couple of times, you're not battle-tested when you eventually play a better team. And so Nick Sirianni, he's not exactly stopping the bleeding here. And if anything, he's picking at the scab. Now, what's going to be interesting is this was the kind of game, and as we were going through it, there's some chatter in the press box like that. Somebody's going to get fired. Now, I'm not saying Sirianni's going to get fired, but this is the kind of a performance when you know and everyone's watching your offense and people are questioning whether or not you should have demoted the offensive coordinator. This is the kind of game that gets Kevin Patullo sacrificed and whacked by the Eagles. Like, that's the kind of game where he will either be demoted or just removed from the coaching room. So stay tuned on that. Now, last word on the Chargers side of things. Show me your lightning bolt. Good-looking uniforms by the Chargers. Right? They dress for success. They had that electric blue on the Monday night. But can Jim Harbaugh now exhale with the Chargers getting the overtime win over the reigning champions of the NFL? So the answer to this is no. The answer is no on this one, and not even close. Now, I'm shaking my head now. No, just for those of you who can watch on the YouTube, we have a Ben Maller show on YouTube. We're actually streaming the monologue. So I'm shaking my head no. Here's why I'm shaking my head no. All right. In fact, I'm shaking my head. I'm going to shake my head so much, I'm probably going to need a chiropractor. No. Like, just like that. And here's why. This was an ugly duckling win. All right, this is an ugly duckling win. The defense was great. I say great, but the Eagles had their own issues. But here's the deal. The offensive display here. This was a capital U ugly is what it was. You had... and you underline it, you can highlight it, however you want to put a spectacle around it, and you put it on a billboard if you want on the 405. Take one of those ambulance-chasing lawyer billboards off the 405 and put that up there. But depending on Dicker, the kicker, the idiot kicker, for 5 field goals, and this is, we always say, the same thing with the Cowboys. It's a blessing and a curse to have a great kicker. Cowboys and Chargers have great kickers. It's a blessing and a curse because you depend on the kicker, and you don't win big games with field goals. You don't. This is a regular season game. You won it. Congratulations. However, normally when you get 5 turnovers, am I not wrong in saying you should win that game by 30 points? If you get 5 turnovers, you're at home, you put your feet up, you grab a spicy margarita, and you enjoy garbage time, and you play grab ass on the sidelines. That was not what happened here. They were not on some kind of Royal Caribbean cruise. They were not. Not the Bolt. The Chargers, who had turned Jalen Hurts, and Jalen was very generous. It's the season of giving. And Jalen Hurts, his generosity, he was a generosity machine here for the Philadelphia Eagles. And they managed to get, if my math is correct, I believe 6 points off 5 turnovers by the Eagles. They only monetized those into 6 points. 2 field goals. That's all they got off 5 turnovers. Now, they did get technically the last one, they sealed the game because that ended the game, the final interception. But the other 4, they only got 6 points out of it, a couple of field goals. And this was the type of game that you have to go back in time. This was a super-duper Football Follies VHS tape, the kind your uncle got at the gas station in like 93 is what this was. And Justin Herbert, he's playing hurt. They didn't talk about that at all in the broadcast, did they? No, Justin Herbert, who looked like he was trying to throw a piano on every dropback. Now, the Eagles got to him a fair amount, and this is the same thing I say all the time. Just, you're going to repeat yourself again. I know. Yeah. I say it about C.J. Stroud, Geno Smith. I'm going to say it about Justin Herbert. Get rid of the damn ball. Okay? Rat-a-tat-tat. Get rid of the ball, dummy. And Justin Herbert kept holding on to the ball, holding on to the ball, holding on to the ball. What are you doing? Just get rid of it and throw it away. My God. And he had 2 fumbles, lost one of them. an interception, under 50%. He's the golden child. Every broadcaster licks this guy's toes, Justin Herbert. I don't see it. I don't. He was holding on the ball like it was a family heirloom. I'm like, dude, it's just the Duke. Get rid of the Duke. The Chargers had only 275 yards of offense in this game. They had 16 first downs, 2 of those via penalty by the Philadelphia Eagles. So you look ahead now that you check the schedule. They play at Kansas City. Kansas City's a lightweight this year, so you play at Arrowhead. Then you've got at Dallas, the Texans in L.A. or in Inglewood, and then at Denver. That is what's left. 4 games left in the regular season for the Chargers at this point. So that's not a stretch run. That's a rocky road. Arrowhead, not easy to play at. Dallas has some good offense, although they're not a complete team. And so that's where you are. That's a rocky road for Jim Harbaugh, and so you can't exhale. Plus, he's not like that. He doesn't exhale about anything. He's always got a stick up his tuchus, doesn't he? That's what he looks like. He's one of those people, and he can barely inhale. All right.